so it's been 3 years since I last made a video on YouTube, and here we are, flying with Seb. Seb, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Seb, I'm from England.
So Seb started his course here about 2 months ago, right? September?
Yeah, 2 months ago.
Already November, which is crazy.
Going crazy fast.
He's just crossed over 60 hours. And how are you liking the course so far?
Oh, loving it.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, we know, as you guys know, BC is the best place in the world to train to fly helicopters. And the terrain that we're flying in right now is a testament to that. So today we're going to be flying up the east shoreline of Stave Lake. So let's start turning left here.
Okay.
So past 3 months, we've had some pretty gnarly weather, right, Seb?
Absolutely.
I don't think I've ever had a course that has had as much bad weather as this course. We've had multiple days of winds higher than 25 knots with what they would call, or what they've been referring to as atmospheric rivers. So a lot of rain. And we've been managing to continue to fly through most of it, but it's definitely presented its fair share of challenges. Today we got a little break from the rain, but we also have some low ceilings. And earlier we had a little bit of higher winds, but this actually isn't too bad. You were up here earlier today.
Yep.
How would you say it compares to earlier?
Ceilings are a bit higher.
Yeah, and the visibility is great.
Visibility is great.
No rain, which is awesome.
There was a lot of rain this morning.
Yeah. So we're going to keep working our way up there on the east shore, and we're going to go to those sandbars that I talked about.
Okay.
On the Stave River, and then we're going to probably land on a couple bridges. So, some bridge landings.
I haven't done that before.
So, Seb, what did you do before you came to train to fly helicopters?
So what I did before and what I still do actually is I'm captain on a river cruise ship in France.
Nice.
And I've been doing it for 6 years now. Decided that I needed a change. I needed a bit of an upgrade, a bit more excitement.
Yeah, well.
So that's why I'm here.
Well, I've heard very similar stories from a lot of different people, myself included. So it's so cool to meet people from all over the world that come to BC specifically to train. Like I said, I personally think, and I know a lot of other people think, that BC is by far the best place to train in the world. The fact that we can go out in this type of terrain and land and do basically whatever we want is pretty incredible.
Yep.
Not a lot of other places in the world that you can do that. And we have every type of terrain. We have lakes, we have rivers, we have tall mountains. We operate out of, a sea level elevation at base, but then we can be up at 6,000 feet in a matter of 20, 30 minutes and use the terrain that's available. And there's so many possibilities. So we have a little bit of everything, which is so great for helicopter training. We know everyone wants to fly helicopters to land in places that you can't land a plane. So we obviously do a lot of work at the airports too, but this is way more fun.
It is.
Okay, so let's do a radio call here on the east side of Stave Lake, and we're going to continue northbound. You can see the ceilings are starting to drop down a little bit more.
Yeah.
But still great visibility and no rain, which is awesome. Even blue sky up top. So as you guys know, it's been a long time since I've posted on YouTube. If you follow me on Instagram, you know that I've posted a lot of pictures, a lot of videos, a lot of things changed over the years. So just over 3 years ago, I was sitting in Seb's position, learning to fly, instructed by Misha, of course. And since then, I've accumulated over 2,000 hours of flying, upgraded my instructor license to a Class 1 instructor rating here in Canada, which is the top of the instructor ratings. You go from 4, 3, 2, and then 1. That's based on the amount of students you've flown with and also the amount of dual given so the amount of instructional hours that you've actually instructed on. And you pass a series of tests and flight tests in order to reach the Class 1 level. So it's been super exciting. Had a lot of interesting adventures along the way, a lot of close calls, a lot of crazy scenarios. It's been an incredible journey so far, and I figured it was about time to give you guys a little bit of an update and start taking you along on some more flights so you guys can really see what it's like to be a helicopter pilot in British Columbia. So we've officially found the rain. We spoke too soon. Definitely looking a little bit more rainy than we expected up here, and the ceilings are continuing to drop down. There's little holes and stuff to the right. We wanted to go to the left, but the ceiling looks like it's maybe a couple 100 feet there, so we might venture over to the right instead. But we'll see what we can get into. So flying in British Columbia, this is pretty much what you get. It's gonna rain a lot, and get a lot of experience flying in really bad weather here. So things we're watching out for right now is it's getting close to sunset. We don't have much time before sunset. So we have to be careful with lower ceilings when it starts getting dark, because that overcast layer, when the sun sets, it gets dark really, really fast. So we have to be very cautious with that and not venture too far into the terrain where we don't have lights that illuminate the surface that we can use as reference. Okay, so the ceiling's not as bad as I expected around the corner, but you can see over the Stave River, it's just a solid wall right there. So let's lower a bit of power once again, and we're gonna come down below this layer here, and we're gonna slow down a little bit so that we don't go blasting into the lower visibility at full speed. So we'll just slow it down, maybe like 50 knots or so as we get a little closer, because we're gonna basically go right into our reconnaissance around these spots here. So yeah, so level off around here. This is a good height, and we'll continue to just gradually slow down. Now, the spot that I wanted to go to is just beyond that center column of cloud. It's just to the left of it. So if we go through that gap over there, we would be set up pretty good. Now, this is an area where the clouds could all come down and block this whole area. So if we venture too far into this valley, we could get trapped here. So it's not a good idea for us to continue too much more into this when we know we have to start heading home in a very short period of time. You can see how much darker it got just in the last 10 minutes as we came underneath this overcast layer. It's really dark here. It's a lot harder to see, and the clouds are moving really, really fast. So we have to be super cautious with always making sure we have a way out and we don't get trapped up here, because these clouds are moving quick. So there's two bridges here. We're going to do the one on the right, the one that you're going to see the right first. So you're already at a perfect speed for your reconnaissance. So let's enter into a 50-knot orbit around this point and start going through our checks to see how it looks. So how does the size look?
Size looks sufficient if we're facing the right way.
Yeah, if we're facing the right way, good. So it's basically, obviously, the width of a pretty large truck. So we know that the Cabry's width is going to fit within those guardrails.
Yeah.
So then you mentioned the shape of it. We have to align ourselves a certain way, right?
Yeah.
So obviously the tail has to be in line with the bridge. We can't hang it over the edge because the guardrail.
Yeah.
Surface, what's the surface?
Pretty solid.
Yeah, so it's concrete surface bridge. Some bridges are wood. We have to be careful with wood bridges in rain because they are very slippery with our skids. So concrete, not so slippery, but if it was winter, which it's getting close to winter here, well, I mean, it is winter, but it's 11 degrees right now. So if there was ice on that bridge, that could be even slipperier. So, no ice on there right now, no snow, no ruts. So concrete surface is nice and hard, and it doesn't look like it's sloped. Does it look sloped to you?
No, not at all.
Yeah, so good way to check this is the girder from the water surface is basically equal on both sides. But not all bridges are flat. Some of them have a pretty severe slope to them, in which case we'd point our tail down slope, right?
Yep.
Okay, surrounds. What's surrounding this that is a concern?
So a few trees on either end.
Yep. That's right.
Yeah.
And then what about on the bridge itself?
On the trees, well, the barriers on each side.
Yeah, guardrails are about maybe 2 feet on each side, so we got to be careful with our skids and our tail on the guardrail.
Yeah.
Now, anything else? What do we usually talk about? Man-made features in the terrain. What can we also see here?
Any debris?
Yeah. What about a straight cut through the trees? What could that indicate?
Ah, yeah, electricity.
Yeah, wires, right?
Yeah.
So where there's human influence in nature, there very well could be wires, and it's a straight line, straight cut. So that's exactly how wires go. They're straight. They don't zigzag very often. So do you see any power poles along the road or any power poles close to the edge of the bank that align themselves with the bridge at all?
I do not. No.
Okay, so it doesn't appear to be any wires there at all, which is good. But like I said, anytime we see a straight cut, and this road is a prime example of that, a road often accompanies wires, but we're so remote here. But the thing is, this road actually services a hydro project that generates electricity. So there is a very good chance that they could align the road with the wires from the hydro project.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So we've made our assessment. Only thing missing is sun and shade.
Well, there ain't no sun.
Very little sun. These clouds are creeping in, but they're dissipating. So they're not too much of a concern, and we're at 12 degrees right now, so the visible moisture isn't too big of a deal for us. But we don't want to get too close there. Okay, so with the shape, how do you think we should approach this spot? Maybe we can just kind of go out this way, and you can line up your approach here.
Okay.
So what do you think about this approach angle here?
Well, it's very clear due to the river.
Yeah.
I was expecting us to go in alignment with the bridge.
Yeah, that's also a good option. But because those trees are so narrow there, that's not always a possibility.
Yeah.
But yeah, this through here would be a good option. However, I would say that we have less visibility here because of the contrast.
Yeah, that is true.
It's not as easy to see these dead trees. Those brown trees are almost invisible with the current lighting conditions.
Yeah.
However, over the river is very easy to see. Very good contrast there. So coming from this corner and then following the river to the bridge would mean that we have better visibility, and I think we'd be also into wind, which is important. If you can feel that tail getting pushed right here, feel that push from the tail? That's definitely the way the wind is coming from, straight this way. And all the clouds have been moving towards us this entire time, which is indicating that the wind is pushing this way. So by flying along the river, we avoid any lower obstacles. We have good visibility, good contrast. So I think that's our best approach. So we're going to have to kind of zigzag out this way and then loop around and then kind of come from this point right here down to our spot.
Okay.
And that the river almost creates a natural base and turn to final for us with very little obstacles. So we can be nice, shallow approach without descending too steeply over the trees.
Yeah.
The other good thing about following the river is it serves as a natural kind of path for you to follow. You can't get lost going back to the bridge. And in some really tight confined areas, it's actually really easy to lose visual of your spot when you're far away from it. It kind of blends in with the trees. But here, you have a clear path the whole way in, and so you can't get lost. You know the river goes under the bridge. There's no other way. What do you think of your first bridge landing?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Amazing scenery.
Not a bad view.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna lift it up here.
Okay.
So we can roll up, make sure pedals are neutral so we don't have any torque spinning the helicopter at all. Gotta keep our tail away from this guardrail. Gotta be really careful on surfaces like this in the winter because all it takes is just a little bit of ice and it's really easy to spin it.
Yeah.
Especially when you're lifting off. Okay, so we want to make sure we stay nice and straight, and we're going to come back up to the height we were before to clear the guardrail. Then we'll turn back into wind.
Okay.
And then it's really important that when we depart here, we get a positive rate of climb before we leave.
Yeah.
Because if we just push forward, we can lose our in-ground effect hover, and our tail could get caught on the guardrail. We don't want to just push forward. We want to raise up a little bit and then slowly push forward. All right, whenever you're ready.
Okay. Lights are off, road is in the green, fuel is 49, T's and P's are all in the green, switches are all up, car beats on auto.
Good, very nice.
Safe strip traffic, this is helicopter Cadbury G2, Golf Echo Lima Papa, departing from Winslow Creek Bridge, departing southbound, climbing to 1,000.
Good, nice positive rate of climb. And then slowly tip it forward right there. You're good to go.
Nice.
There you go, and then we can get out of the yellow, and then you're just gonna keep following the creek. So one of the interesting things that Seb and I were just talking about here is the bridge that we just landed at is very remote. And it's interesting because in other areas of the world, helicopters are not utilized as much as they are in Canada. And I think that's one of the main reasons why Canada is such an amazing place to train to fly helicopters, because they are utilized so much commercially here, because the places that people need to get to are inaccessible by any other means. So, for example, that spot that we just landed at, the only way to get there would be to drive your car to the bottom of this lake that we're over right now, get on a barge, charter that barge to the top of the lake, and then drive up that road for another 30 minutes to the bridge. Now, that's not even a public barge, so you'd have to figure out who the heck is in charge of running the barge. And it would probably take you a couple hours. And Seb and I just went up there, landed, did a couple other landings, and we've only been flying for 54 minutes. So if we would have left in our car from Abbotsford, we wouldn't have even made it to the barge yet. We would be stuck in traffic, just north of Abbotsford, probably in Mission. So helicopters are so useful, and they're so versatile, and in Canada, they're so necessary for accessing the areas of the terrain. Versus other parts of the world, they just build a road there. And they don't have terrain that's as remote as we have here. So our training ground is so versatile and has so many real-world uses and real-world scenarios that we can simulate, which is definitely the most fun part about my job, teaching people how to fly, is creating these scenarios and saying, hey, we need to land here because we're pretending to do this, or we're going to take a sample from this creek, or we're going to service this logging machine and this cut block, or something like that. Real-world application. And that is super cool to have the ability to do that and utilize all this terrain.
Oh, the colors are pretty amazing right now, huh?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Wow, that is awesome.
Tower, Oscar Oscar uniform, design downwind for
All right, you can line yourself with the road to head back to the towers.
Oscar Oscar uniform tower, right?
Okay, so we're just on the edge of Abbotsford now. We've made it back to civilization. All in the span of 1 hour and 12 minutes.
Yep.
So a 5-hour trip, maybe 6 hours by car. 1 hour and 11 minutes to and from. That's just one way would be 6 hours. And you'd be, I don't know, 12 hours round trip versus one. That's a pretty big difference.
Yeah.
And I mean, that spot's not even that remote. So if we flew another hour or two into the Canadian wilderness, it would be much longer by any other means of transportation.
You'd never get there.
No. Not today, at least. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. It's been awesome to update you on the last 3 years of flying in BC. Lots changed, like I've said. Going to try to do some regular videos from here on out. Hoping for one video a week. Like I said before, if you guys have any suggestions or would like to suggest a potential subject for the next video, just drop a comment below and let us know what you're interested in. Got a couple ideas, but it's always hard to know exactly what people want to see. It's always surprising to me, the questions that people ask, because you never really know what what people are interested in. And obviously everything that we do is very interesting if you're not involved in aviation. So I'm sure there's been a lot of things that are surprising to you since you've trained. What can you think of anything that really stuck out to you as being shocking when you first started to fly?
It's pretty much everything.
Pretty much everything.
Every day.
Yeah.
New
So
surprise.
after a while, you kind of forget what it's like to start out flying, and you forget what's surprising to people, right? Like auto rotations, for example. That just seems obvious to us, but to the average person, they think a helicopter just flies or falls out of the sky like a rock. The engine dies. So if you guys have suggestions for future videos, drop in the comments below. Otherwise, we'll see you in the next one. Switching. See ya. Alright, Seb, how does it feel to be in the 3-year recap video?
Feel special. Yeah. Good to see you back on track.
Yeah, here we go. So what's been the best part about training in British Columbia?
The best part about training in British Columbia, it's absolutely amazing out here. The scenery is unreal. The instructors here at BC Helicopters.
You can't say that.
Oh. No, it's really well explained. I really like the way that everything works out here. It's really great. They really teach you how to fly a helicopter.
In the terrain.
Yeah, in the terrain.
Yeah.
Pretty insane.
That's what helicopters are for.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you haven't even really got the chance to
No, not yet.
get into the mountains too much because we've had so much bad weather, but
Yeah, but it'll come.
all that rain that we've had down here is all snow up there.
Yeah.
And landing on mountains covered in snow, the best thing in the world.
Yeah, I bet.
So
Looking
Got
forward to it.
you got a lot to look forward to yet. Do like a behind the scenes like bloopers clip at the end. I think that'll be funny.
Got this one still on.
Yeah. Oh yeah. See? That one will go in the clip.